For example, when we got married, um, my I we got married on a Saturday and I had a surgery on a Monday. So we spent our honeymoon in the hospital for weeks. We have not even done inside the marriage.
That's not the
So
dream marriage for so many people, but then that this is reality.
you know and that happened because the surgery dates they were postponing until somehow the date was postponed until just after the marriage. And um it was a major surgery, which in fact at some point I was telling my husband at the time, before the wedding, I was telling my husband, are you sure you really want to really go ahead with this marriage? Because you know these are real things I should talk about, because it, life can happen.
Welcome, guys. Welcome to my podcast. My name is Prophet Eneh. I'm your host, and I'm excited to be bringing you this episode of my podcast where I interview married couples who have been into this thing for so many years. Well, you probably people that know me, people know I'm not married. But yeah, you know what's up. You know that most times we hear from single people, and single people always have unrealistic expectations and things that I don't know, like it's just so obvious. But I decided to do this because I wanted to bring this perspective of married people who have experienced the reality of marriage. In the internet we always see the good, but we never almost see the challenges the couple face, like the difference between being a single person and being a married person. Like, where do you find that balance? Where do you draw the line? So
Mhm.
that's why we are having this episode today. And as you guys can already see, I have a guest in the house. This is my dear friend. I've known her for a couple of years, and I think for a while, one or two times, I've appeared on her channel for some interviews. So I was like, yeah, I mean, she's married. Let's bring her here so that she can tell us about her own marriage and the lessons we can learn from it. So let me do me the honor to introduce yourself. But before we do that, I just want to encourage you guys that if you watch this episode and you really enjoyed it and you learned something very important from it, do well to subscribe to this channel and also hit the notification button so that you'll be notified the next time I upload video. And don't forget to like it, because when you do like it, it helps YouTube to push out these videos so that more people can see it and learn. You don't know, maybe your husband or your wife might need to watch
That's
this,
it.
and then they get to see the reality and they change and become better themselves. So
Mhm.
I mean, you get what I'm saying? So, with that said and that getting out of the way, let me give you the honor to introduce yourself to our audience.
Hi, everyone, and thank you very much for having me here. I'm really glad to be here. My name is Ogenna Mary. I am an architect, an interior designer, a lighting designer. This is what I do lots. But I currently work as a lighting designer in the aviation space with
Mm.
an aircraft manufacturer. And I live in Germany. I've not been married for so long. I've been married for just 5 years.
Say 5 years,
Almost,
not so long.
almost, almost 5 years. Not too
Okay.
much like that, but yeah.
Well, I mean, 5 years. 5 years is enough. I mean, that's 5 years of experience of the real thing. We that are doing this thing that have almost 0 years of experience. So I think you are qualified to do this. Thank you for doing this. I'm really happy that you actually agreed to do this because it meant a lot to me. It's sometimes it's not easy finding people that are willing to appear on camera. And
Yeah, it's not.
I mean, it's not easy. It's not easy seeing people that are
I
willing to
know
appear on
the
camera.
story. I know
Yeah,
it. It's not
it's
easy.
not easy. Even if I
Yeah.
started doing this, I didn't like hearing my voice. Well, I mean, it is what it is.
It
Well,
can be very uncomfortable.
unfortunately, today the husband couldn't join us for personal reasons. So, I mean, if she's here, I believe that she can give us a balanced view from her own perspective and probably maybe what her husband has shared with her over the years about how he feels about things in their marriage. So, without wasting much of our time, the first question I would like to ask you is, in one word, how would you describe your marriage?
Beautiful.
Mm,
Beautiful. Of course, the reality is there are problems here and there that can come on it, but in general, I would say beautiful.
nice.
That's the one word.
So it's beautiful, but before you got to this part of it's been beautiful. Can you like give us a background of like how you guys met? Maybe like this is one of my favorite questions. I like knowing how people meet each other. Like it's
You know,
interesting.
it's very funny that this is actually the part that my husband likes to hear. He's always hearing, he loves to hear how people meet. So anytime maybe we go out, we're having like hangout and stuff, it's always like, so tell me, how did you guys meet? He loves it. So unfortunately, he's not here to come and tell the story. And he's always having his own perspective of how we met. In
There's
any
always two
case,
versions to this.
the gospel according to me
Uh-huh.
is that we met at work actually. So I was in before coming to Germany, I was in Nigeria, of course. I was working as an architect in Abuja, and he was also working in the office as well as an IT person. I came from youth service and I just came to start working at this place where I had done my IT previously. And lo and behold, it was there. Me, I did not really notice that time, but well, and something very funny happened at the time. The first day I went to the office, because I was already familiar with the people. Of course, it was easy for me to like come and say, "Hey, hello, hello, good everyone," and it was really chill. And when I was leaving the office, I went with a colleague. A colleague of mine was going to drop me halfway, so he stopped me halfway, and I was waiting on the road for the taxi to the along, in Abuja then
Yeah.
there's this along vehicle. So I waited for along to come and then he drove by. And of course I recognized that I saw this person in the office. We worked the whole day in the office. So he was like, which way am I going? And he was going to drop me off and stuff. So of course I went in and he stopped me at the closest bus stop to my own house. We were
Mm.
talking along the way, of course, and stuff like that. And then when I was about to come down, he then said, so I thought to let you know that I'm going to marry you last.
Ah.
I'll be happy to put it. No, I think no. He said, no. The exact clause was you're going to be my wife. Yes, I think that was how he said it. And
Ah.
in my mind, I'm like, what's wrong with this guy?
Normal reaction.
this person is I was like, please. So I just came down. Then I got back home. And a few hours later, he called me to say, hey, do you know I had an accident and stuff? And I honestly panicked. Like, oh my God, what happened? Because even though I was taken aback by what he said about the getting marrying you and stuff, we had a really cool conversation. So it was cool to I was like, hey, oh my God, what happened? He said, no, nothing happened. I'm just pulling your legs. But why didn't you call to know if I've gotten home? How kind of a person is this?
So he technically lied to you.
Why do you want to give me a heart attack? But yeah, that was how we met, and the rest they say is history.
So
But
uh,
yeah.
I mean, so but like when did you guys started a relationship? Like what was it like from how did that happen?
We started dating, I think, 3 months after the first day we met. So,
Mm.
of course, during that 3 months, he was asking me. After that first day of dropping me off, the next day,
Mm.
the checking started, the talking was happening and stuff. And I honestly was not interested in having a relationship at the time. I just come back from youth service, and while I was going to youth service, I told myself that I'm not. This is not what I want to be doing. I want to focus on my focus, and
Mm.
and pursue money and things. Besides, I had just come out of a 3 year relationship that I had with one pastor guy that told me that God told him that I'm not the person for him. So that's the reason why
Ah.
we had. My
Ah.
God, see, I've gone through a lot.
Ah.
So,
Ah.
so when but to be fair to the guy, I do believe that God really did tell him because at some point in our relationship at the time, I was beginning to wonder if this is really what I wanted to do. If this is really somebody I wanted to spend my life with. Because when we started dating, he was just a regular guy. And then along the way, he became a pastor. And in my mind, I'm like, do I really want to be a pastor's wife? I don't think I want to do this. And I was really worried at the time because I started going all out to search for information on things regarding pastor's wife, what they go through, the challenges they face, what they have to deal with, the kind of life they have to live. Because
Wow.
I really do feel like being a pastor's wife is it's not as flamboyant as it looks. You know, there are a lot of things that comes with that. You know, taking care of you're taking care of a whole group, a whole lot of people. You're taking care of the person that's taking care of a whole lot of people. You're sharing it with the
Mm-hmm.
whole church, you know. And if something happens to a member, you cannot tell your husband not to go and look, you know, and take
Yeah.
care
True.
or and things like that. So I really felt it was a lot that I don't think I was cut out for, to be honest. And for a while, it was really bothering me. And this person was a good person, or is a good person. It's not late, God, I beg. The person is a good person, so
Maybe
I
the person
cannot.
could have become a bad person, you know. I mean, they don't have
Be,
to be a bad person.
be. So really, when he told me that God told him that wasn't his wife, I wasn't bothered, to be honest. I was like, okay, that's good. It means that okay, I think we are really how do I put the word now? In any
I
case,
mean,
for
like
me,
going different direction.
yes, we're going different direction. For me, it was okay. So, and after that, I was like, I've dated for too long. Because I was with this guy for 3 years. So I was like, I don't think I want to go into any relationship. And that was the space I was at the time. So it's already been at that time. It was already maybe about 2 years already after that relationship, and I still wasn't ready to date anybody. I was enjoying my alone life of nobody calling me and asking me, Afa, where are you? And I'm not calling anybody. Nobody is stressing me. So, so at the time, I honestly wasn't ready for a relationship. And I told him then that I'm not ready for a relationship. And besides, in fact, this is what he's always, till now, he's always using it to taunt me.
Mm.
Then I used to tell him that even if I was going to date somebody, I wasn't going to date him. That he looks like an
See your
unserious
life.
person to me. I'm telling you, I was telling him that you look very unserious. You look like this is a very bad word, but let me just say, I told him then that he looks like a tout, and I don't see
Ah.
myself. I don't see myself being with being with someone like you. You know, this is the thing when they say don't judge a book by its cover. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Though some people you see some people on the outside and they look like they can kill somebody or something. But that's a strong word. They look like they look very
Not put together.
yes, something like that. They don't look very put together. You just assume, that really hurt him. He was pained by that, but for whatever reason, he still didn't stop asking,
He
and
was determined.
that went on for a very long time. But then I also try not to be mean or rude to people. So I try to, even though I didn't want to date this person, doesn't mean that I can't be friends with this person. The person knows the boundaries. At least that's how my own mindset has always been. The person knows what the boundaries are. Um, but I'll not see you and come and start saying, am I not stop it? Have I not told you to talk to me again? Things like that. Just being unnecessarily rude. So because of that, we still talk. We still like we're working in the same office anyway. When we're going for lunch, we still go to lunch together with not just both of us anyway, every other person that we're going with. So and then he was always offering to take me home wherever I want to go to. He's going to come to the house to pick me up, to drop me in the office. At the time, I wasn't seeing it as a big deal, to be fair, because I also had other friends that were willing to either drop me off or take me back. So for me, it wasn't a big deal at the time, even though now he would say that I was taking advantage. he would say he would say I turned him to his driver and was driving me all around Abuja and stuff like that. But in all of those, the point I'm trying to make is that in all of these interactions that we were having, I got to now know the kind of person that this person is. I even find out that all this hard person persona that he has is not it's not like that. You assume that when you see my husband on the outside for the first time, you might assume that if you talk to this guy 2 seconds, he can slap you. But if you on close on interaction, you realize that is the is the last person to get into any confrontation or nothing. He's not ready to stress himself when it comes to whether it's verbal exchange or whatever. He does not want to be involved in all this kind of things.
I mean
So,
that's how most guys are. To me, somehow I believe like I mean when you look at it, the society we have to look tough, masculine, and all those kind of stuff.
mm-hmm,
Put up that face of I'm strong and all those stuff.
str-
But man, I mean inside deep down they're just little babies,
they're
just
just
looking
honestly
to be
big
careful. I mean if you
babies.
see guys when they are sick, you'll be wondering who is this person? Like who is this small boy? But when they are all healthy, they like and out there, they want to put up
They're
the
just
face
like
and all this
macho
stuff.
and stuff.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. But like,
And that was exactly the story with him as well. On interaction, I really found that he, and then another thing, during that 3 months period, he was willing to tell me every bad thing I can possibly hear about him
oh
without me even wanting to, without me even asking. So on his own, he'll come and tell me, see, see, I remember now, I did one thing, just in case you don't hear by mistake, so that you know be that. And I haven't accepted it yet. This is what, for me, interested me the most. I haven't accepted yet, but he was willing to tell me everything that he felt that maybe if I hear or if I get to know about it later, I might feel uncomfortable. And he was saying, I'm putting it out there so you just know that in case you decide to change your mind, you know what you're getting into, it's stuff like that. For me, it was really, I
that's
think at
that's
the end,
that's been intentional.
yeah, yeah. And to be honest, at the end of the day, that was what actually changed my mind to say, really, what am I even doing? She be last. I'm gonna still go and start a relationship anyway. What's wrong
Yeah.
with starting it now? Especially you meet someone who seemed to be really cool. You guys talk a lot. He's willing to tell you the most embarrassing stuff without worrying that you think about this and see him in a bad light, or you think about this and say, I don't even want to even do it again. For me, I thought that was really really cool. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I think when you talk about that, it reminds me of like people being very expressive. That's the first thing. Then secondly, being very intentional in the sense that I mean, this is all of me. This is what I can do. This is what I've done. Like
Mm-hmm.
when you talk to some people, you get to notice that some of them are just giving you general information, while some people are
Mm.
giving you deep information that help you to get to know them and actually
Mm-hmm.
know how intentional they are about you.
They
I
are.
think that's the difference between so many people. Sometimes people will be asking me, "How do I know he's the one?" or "How do I know this and that about this person?" I'm like, "What kind of conversations are you people having?"
You have
Because
exactly.
it's the quality of the conversations you have when you are dating somebody or when you want to date somebody that will actually help you to get to know the person better. Because a lot of people are just there licking shawarma, ice cream and shawarma, entering in front of car seat and all those kind of stuff, but they are
uh,
not really having deep conversation that help them get to know
mm-hmm.
the other person. So yeah, like I mean, yeah, when you said that, I was like, yeah, that's an intentional man for you. They tell you things that
Exactly.
you get to know about them. But then I would like to ask, like, did you have like maybe comparing now and then when you were single or when you guys started dating newly, were there unrealistic expectations you have? And like, what does it look right now? Like the expectations you had then and now.
Plenty unrealistic things. I don't say movies, watch a lot of movies, and they just do some kind of bubble things that don't used to happen in real life.
Disney.
I'm telling you, one of the things I think for me has been, or at least I've been telling a few persons, is how you realize that even though this person loves you, you are not on their mind 24 hours of the day.
True.
you know, because a lot of movies make us to be maybe the person is always thinking about me. If maybe we are eating, it's only one piece of something left, you will remember to leave that one piece of it might not happen like that. Or sometimes if I even eat it, I even forget that I'm not even eating. you know, things like that. I I think that the movie industry has not been very good in the aspect of painting a realistic picture of what happens when you're with someone. You know, um, thinking that you're going to be happy all the time, thinking that you want to see this person every time. When you see this person, you're just jumping. Oh my god! Sometimes you don't even want to even see this person. You're like, why are you even here? Why are you here today? Can you go out?
This you just said that it reminded me of something I read yesterday or something I watched. A lady was calling the guy, or she was angry that the guy that she's in a relationship didn't answer her call at some point or something like that, and she was
Mm.
complaining. And the mother heard about it, And the mother was like, "It's because you are jobless. That's why you are this
Exactly.
bothered. And because if you had something busy doing with your life, like
You
if
will
you had
not be.
different things you have to do, even if they miss your call, yeah, but then you're not so obsessed, like, I want to hear from you every time of the
Mm-hmm.
day because they have a life, they have other things they are doing with their life. But I mean,
Mm-hmm.
those are the expectations some people get with. I mean, I want to talk to him
And
every
it's
single
very
minute of the day.
ridiculous. Like the mother said, you're jobless because if you have a job and you're working, you will not leave the work that you're doing to go and checking your phone to know whether somebody called you or somebody did not call you. It's
Mm-hmm.
I see that's very ridiculous. I know what's even very funny. Sometimes my husband said, I mean, I'm not a normal human being. Because between the both of us, we're even like it's a reverse of what usually would be the case. Me, I'm the person that is always like, what? Why are you bothering? He's the person that wants to, he's the person that will be like, he's the person that can say something like, do not call me back. I've not spoken to you for there was one time while we were dating, sometimes he'll call me and say, do you realize that we have not spoken in so number of hours or so number of days? I'm like, huh? What? I,
Ah.
not because he didn't have, not because he was jobless or anything. He was busy. But he was just that kind of person. Not he was, he is that kind of person. He's a much
Mhm,
more emotionally in tuned person as opposed to myself that is very, I can be very nonchalant a lot, you know. So some things that some people would, so for example, um, before we started going out, if maybe say we go somewhere and want to buy something, I'm that person that don't expect that somebody is going to pay for me even
mhm.
though the person is asking me out. So I've already carried my stuff, I've already paid for my thing, I'll be going because pride will not even allow me. So you know, to go and be expecting that somebody will make so some of these things that um that ladies do typically. I
Mhm,
I don't think I don't think I used to um
mhm.
do things like that. So yeah. Now that I think about it, that's even weird. But in any case.
You are being masculine.
Oh my
You are
god.
not in your soft girl era.
I
So
wasn't
that's
my
how they
soft
put
girl.
it.
Do you
You're not in the
know?
soft.
Do you know? But you
I
know
mean,
what I found out there? Someone who really who really is interested or like you said intentional. You don't need to do soft girl life. They're going to do soft girl life for you just
mhm,
because they want to, not because they were cajoled into doing
into
it,
it.
you know, or making or blackmailed into doing something. They're just because. In fact, sometimes even because they know that you're not bothered by that. They're like, let me even prove to this person, say, I should be relaxing now. Let me take care of you a bit, you know, sometimes. So,
Yeah. I mean,
anyhow,
that's nice. I mean, there are so many things people just they when they look at marriage and relationship, or when they think they're getting involved with somebody, they are expecting so many things that is not reality. Like, you don't it's not something you do every day. Like, even the way
hmm,
people are, if we talk about sex, for example, now people are trying to sleep with everybody they see. They think if you get into marriage, you'll be sleeping with the person every day.
my
So
brother.
I've heard so many things from so many people that are married. Like, you get there, self, even to do the do self, you
You'll
will not
be
even have the
tired. Oh,
strength because you are facing reality. You are working 12 hours a day, or you're working 8 hours a day,
no,
depending on when you get back home. There's reality to face. You have to clean the house, do all those kind of stuff, pay bills. By the time you're owing some set level of debt, your mind is not even going there because there's so
of
many other
course.
things that you're supposed to do. So I think most people forget that when you get into a relationship, it's not just the relationship. There's so many layers to it. So it's very wise to manage expectations. And
Hmm.
I think the worst part of it is when you don't communicate those expectations. Because some people don't talk, they don't communicate their expectations. Because I believe, like, if you communicate your expectations, the other person will be able to tell you if there's something they can do or
They
not.
can do or not, yeah.
And
And it's good to communicate their expectations early, you
yeah,
know, so that it's not that when you put on get married now, you'll be thinking that maybe the person knows already in their mind, and you're like, you're not gonna be shocked. So it's good. Communicating the expectations are very important. Realistic expectations, especially.
Yeah,
Not the one that you can be you can be well,
because
even if they're unrealistic, it's better you even say it. Let the person even know
I
that
cannot
this
do.
person and this person is not a serious person.
I cannot so that you don't get involved with me and then be expecting me to do. I
Yeah.
was telling somebody the other day. See me, I don't like traveling. I don't like being on the road. I don't like even like the first time I flew airplane. It was very annoying because I had this. What's it called again? Is it
Like air bubbles in your ear.
yeah, like those migraine or whatever I can't remember the name right now, but it was so
Mm.
painful that after that time I was like, I'm never gonna fly again if it's possible. And even being on the road, I don't like it personally. So sometimes you hear people say, I like traveling, I like doing this. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't like doing it all. If you can
No one
teleport me,
drive.
if you can teleport me to that location, I wouldn't mind. We can go and we
Mm.
do it. But if it's for me to be on the road all the time traveling, it's not something I would love to do. It's not something I
Yeah.
enjoy doing. Some things like that, you kind of communicate it to the person and allow the person to make the decision if they're okay. I can take this. I can take this. I think that's the
Mm-hmm.
problem with
Or
when it
at
comes to
least know where
expectations.
the compromise can be.
Yeah,
For
meet
example,
each other
myself
halfway.
too. Exactly. For myself too, I don't like traveling. I don't like it. I don't like the process of planning trips and all those many, many things. And then the trip itself, I don't like it. Like you said, if I can be teleported, I like the location. I like to reach there. But the problem,
Is how to get there.
how to get there, I don't like it.
Yeah.
So, and my husband likes to travel. He likes to be all over the place. I don't like it. But then, because I understand, of course, these are not like um deal breakers. So, but because I understand that we cannot always just me. I like to sit there inside the house, watch
Mhm.
movie, do whatever, make noise, gist, chat. That's it. I'm good. But we can't do that all the time. His life is going
Mhm.
to be just miserable. So I also have to be considerate to not say this person likes to travel. So okay, let's once in a while. When he says let's go so place, I can say okay, maybe instead of five, maybe we can do two or three.
Mhm.
Or instead of going too far, maybe we can do maybe something like take up maybe 1 hour or two instead of having to do like 5 or 6 hours. You know, like a compromise. And like you said, is to have those conversations on time, and the person should know that we're not gonna be going around the world like that.
Yeah,
But
I think when I think about it and like relating it to what you said, it's more of like because you want your partner to do something with you that you love doing, you should be considerate enough to do what you know they like doing for them or with them. It's more of like you rub my back, I rub your back in a
yeah,
way. I don't like traveling, but I like staying in and watching movie, and I want my partner to stay in and watch movie with me. So if I want her or him or her to do that, then therefore I will also make myself available to travel once or
once in
twice.
a while.
Well, yeah, something like that. It's more of like both
Mm-hmm.
of you just rub each other's back. It doesn't have to be, oh, I'm not doing it at all at all. And I don't want to say,
Yeah,
so even though I
yeah.
don't like traveling, I would do it if
Mm-hmm.
it gets to that point. But then, is it my favorite thing to do? No.
No,
But then, if you now
exactly.
start expecting the person to travel every day with you, then you're the one looking for trouble. I
Uh-huh.
think those are the expectations a lot of
That's the
people have.
unrealistic expectation we're
They
talking
have
about.
like even me, I don't like testing food. I'm very picky with
Mm,
food too. So that's another thing. So I might try it, but don't expect me to because some people are like, I like testing different restaurants. I'm the
mm.
worst person you want to do that with because I like cooking my food.
Why do I feel like you're my twin brother, eh?
Yeah.
My husband
Anyway.
says that my husband says that I'm too picky with food. Sometimes maybe he goes somewhere and they serve something. He will always want to bring back something for me and all of these things. Then when they bring something, he will say, this man will not eat this thing. Leave it. She will not. Don't worry.
Yeah.
You will not eat it. Just
Anyway.
leave it. You see,
So
if it is more than rice and chicken and all these things,
yeah.
don't bother.
Anyway,
Mm.
so I would like to know, like, what would you say is the biggest adjustment you had to make from being a single person to being someone who's married?
For me, the biggest adjustment would be living with someone. That would
Mm.
be because, like I said, I don't know if I said that before. I'm quite very independent. I like to be by myself. I like my space. Um, for me, that was my first week of marriage, of being in the house, I woke up one day and told this man, so you mean that I'm going to be seeing you like this every day? Every day. I'm going to, in fact, when I stretch on the bed like this and I stretch my hand and knock somebody, I say, oh
Oh Jesus.
God. Oh God. It might sound very trivial, but for me, it was a huge adjustment to share my space permanently with someone. Now, I've always been the person that accommodates people, so my house is always full. People are always coming to stay in my house for maybe go for interview or stay for a while. That's a temporary arrangement, so they stay a couple of months and they go. But having to share my space permanently with someone was a very, very, very huge adjustment for me. Then, secondly, is having to plan my life and my
Around
time
someone.
around another person. I like to be in charge of everything in my life. Like I like to be in charge of I do this and just move. Now having to run it by someone else to say, "Hey, I'm planning to do this. What do you think about it?" Or things like that. Or wanting to do something and then realizing that you can't do it because either it won't go well with him um or he will not be able to be a part of it, and him not being a part of it just wouldn't make sense. Okay, so let's not do it you know and then another part is having to cook all the time. Oh God, I don't like it normally.
Oh my God.
before 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 getting married, I almost not like I always ate out, but because my schedule was very, very busy, I usually don't have a lot of time to cook myself. So most times I just maybe go by a restaurant and just take something, or if I have friends come over, they can probably help me cook sometimes. Not that I don't cook at all. That's not like I didn't used
Mm-hmm.
to cook at all, but it was not something I did as a normal life thing. Now, when we got
Yeah.
married, for a couple of times, I was gonna wake up and say, "How far? Should we are eating should we are eating today?" I say, "Oh God, that's true." I said, "This it sounds very nonsensical, but it was a real thing." A couple of times they will come and say, "Are we eating today?" I'll say, "That's true. I'm supposed to eat." Then I would have go, okay, make some. Sometimes we just even go and just put something together, then bring for me, and then I'll realize, I've been out here since I don't remember that somebody's son needs to eat food. it's, yeah, it's very ridiculous. So you see, having to plan all of this, or even like me now, I don't need to think too much of what I want to eat. My food, my list, they're not plenty. There are very few
Mm.
things I'm ready to. But now you need to think about it. This man, he has eaten rice 2 times in a row. Maybe we should try something else. Oh God, why do we have to go through this?
Yeah. I
you
feel
know,
your pain.
Honestly, all these small lifestyle adjustments. Beyond that, I don't think there's been anything super huge, but
Mm-hmm.
it's for me that's just
I
largely been
mean,
around
those are
lifestyle.
those are huge changes. Those are huge things to adjust to because I mean, when I think about it, planning your life around someone else, it's interesting because I mean, as a single person, you wake up, you decide to do whatever you want to do. You don't really care that much.
Exactly.
Like even let's say single person before even getting into a relationship, most times you just do what you want to do. Nobody is trying to control your life. Nobody is coming to do anything to you. You just do what you want to
Mm-hmm.
do. But when you get married or even get into a relationship. Like I mean, when I talk about relationship, like a serious relationship, you now
Mm-hmm.
have to start considering some other things. Well, what I mean, I can't do this because it doesn't make this person. You know, this person won't be okay with it, and also
Mm-hmm.
because you care about that person, you care about that person's welfare, you care about that person's interest because you want them to care about yours too.
Mm-hmm.
It's more of like
Mm-hmm.
what you want, you also serve. It's more of like serving each other both ways. So waking up and thinking about what you have to cook and all those stuff. Sometimes you might go hungry. You don't care.
Yeah.
You are
You
single.
don't exactly.
But now
You might not
you
even
have to
remember.
cook. You have to cook because there's somebody else in your life,
Yeah.
or maybe you can wake up and decide not to do anything for that day. Your room might be messy, but you're like, oh,
You
okay,
can push the clothes
I'll,
outside.
I'll clean it whenever I'm free.
Yeah.
But then you are dealing with somebody else in marriage. You have to clean the space, especially if you are married to somebody who doesn't like the house being dirty. Like
Dirty.
if you marry somebody who is a clean freak, oh my god,
Wahala for
that's
you. You clear your
you can't
body.
just you can't just mess up. I mean, they'll have to adjust in a certain way, but then it's not gonna be Christmas the way you would have
Mm-hmm.
been if it was just you. But I mean,
Mm-hmm.
so yes. So for my audience, if you're enjoying this, I just want to encourage you to like this video so that YouTube push it out so other people to watch it, and also for this
Mm-hmm.
page to grow, and also subscribe if you have not done so, and don't forget to hit the notification button because more of this will be coming. I believe like you're already learning so much. I guess so. I'm thinking that way too because I'm already learning so much to myself and at least seeing the reality of things and not just the play side of it. I would like to know, like, is there like anything you found in your spouse, any trait you found in them that you struggled over time to accept?
Hmm. Because we are still very young, I always feel like there are so many things I probably don't know yet. You know, so for now, I doubt that there are strong traits that would say struggle to our struggle is probably will be maybe a stronger way to look at it. Maybe like to probably be something outside of what I can deal with. But for him, no. It's just something that I probably, some things I probably just don't understand sometimes, you know? Like, he's a super, super, super friendly person. He can go out today now, play football with total strangers, and they can come back home to the house and eat. Like,
I play football with total strangers, but then it's not the one of bringing them back
I'm
home.
telling you, this is something he can do. Total, like you don't know them from Jack, and then you're about to come on, play game. They have started playing game, like,
Mm.
and then maybe the person leave. I'll be like, so Alpha say, so we go play ball now, and what's it?
But that's
Really?
that's that's how male friendships are most times. Most times you don't even know people that much, but then just
Hmm.
when you connect on that football pitch, you just feel like your buddies already. I mean,
Yeah, for us, it doesn't happen like that. Also- so over time, I've come to realize that that's his person, and I cannot change that. Besides, that also has its own good side as well.
mm,
Uh, then my husband is always doing matchmaker thing. He likes to do all this. If you see somebody, you see some another person, he will say, maybe
they
not these
look
two
good
people, they'll be
together.
good together. Let me introduce them. Who send you message? Oga. Oga, who sent you? Excuse me, sir. Who sent you? So this might not be, that's why I said because we're not so old in marriage. Maybe there's some things that are not yet. Maybe I'm still in honeymoon phase. So many
Hmm.
things are not yet pissing me off. Um, those kind of putting your mouth in somebody's business are not concerning in
Hmm.
relationship area now. For me, I cannot understand it. It never makes any sense to me. But he loves to do it. Funny enough, today, two people that he introduced just got married today.
Oh,
Yeah, and
see,
when
success story.
success story, oh, success. If you said the way he was boasting today, he said, "It is my handwork. Do you know this is my
Hmm.
matchmaker work? It's only to collect money that remain." If but beyond that, in there are sometimes that I said previously that sometimes maybe it's just you're eating. Person don't forget say una be two. Is it all right? I'm speaking pidgin in this place. I'm saying I keep forgetting that maybe you're not all your audience are Nigerians. Um, so before I had said previously that some people are probably eating. Maybe you're eating together, and then the person even forgets that there are two people in this house.
Hmm.
This man likes food, so sometimes I might even bring out food and just drop it. He will think maybe it's only him that the food is for, and he'll
Mm.
be eating. Then maybe I've gone and done something else, and then I came
Yeah.
back now. Food has finished. I'm like, you know that this food is for two of us. You know that this food is for two of us. So why didn't you tell me it's for two of us now? You would have told me, then I would know that I'll share it. Oh God. So before, it used to really, really piss me off.
Hmm.
Sometimes I'll tell him, I feel like you don't think about me. Because even if you didn't know that it's for the two of us, you didn't see me eating. Why didn't you call me and say, babe, are you eating? Or something? You just finish all the food, and then it goes like feels very bad about it. But tomorrow you still eat and forget and finish. So now me I've learned that when I
Mm.
bring out food that I want us to eat together, I'll say
Stay
this
there.
food is for
It's for
two
two.
of us.
Yeah, I
you
know.
know?
And the funny thing about this is that sometimes when people hear these kind of things you're saying right now, that their partner does some certain things, they think it's like, oh, this is a red flag and all this kind of stuff. He must hate you and all this kind of stuff. But I just feel sometimes I just feel like some things need to be communicated. And if something is not directly affecting you or hurting you, or maybe somebody's pushing you down or trying to oppress you, these are
Mm,
things we do as human beings. Sometimes we forget things. Sometimes it's just a character trait in us that it's so hard to overcome, because
mm-hmm,
there are some things in your life as a person you are struggling with it, you are trying to change. I think that's the thing most people don't understand, because sometimes when we're talking about what my husband is doing that I don't like,
mm,
it's feel like, oh yeah, that man doesn't like you, or maybe what my wife is doing that I don't like is, that woman hates you so much. But then what we don't cover in most of this conversation is that there are other things you yourself you're doing that your partner doesn't like,
doesn't
but
like.
then they just have to ignore it because they have seen that, okay, this is something that is ingrained in you in a certain way, that it will take time to overcome, and they make room
Mm-hmm,
for you, they make space for you to actually just do that, because they know,
mm-hmm,
okay, I can't deal with this. I mean, it is what it is. If it doesn't go, that's why most times I tell people, before you even get married or before you start dating somebody, all those kind, when you see any trait that you're not okay with, try to evaluate it in this form. Can you go on in that marriage if this thing never changed? Would you be okay? Or
mm,
what if this thing gets worse? Would you still be okay? Or
mm-hmm.
if it gets good, would it be okay? It's more of like weighing it in these three balance. Like, okay, if this thing gets worse, I will really be angry and I will not be able to deal with it. Then don't go ahead with that person, because
With that.
there are chances that thing might get worse.
Mm-hmm.
But it should be
True.
something that you know that when it gets worse, it shouldn't make you hate the person or make you despise the person. If you know you cannot deal with somebody's traits, that you know if it gets worse, then don't continue,
Then
because
don't continue.
you can never really tell what will happen. You can never really tell
Mm-hmm.
if they will change for good, because I think that's the idea most people use. They get into the relationship hoping that the person will change for good, forgetting that the person can
People can
actually also
change
become
for
worse.
worse.
This person can actually become worse. So I mean, when they do this, I'm like, okay. I mean, I've given you the skill to evaluate, because sometimes we just forget that there are some things I might do them and not like, and there are some things they do I will not like. We just have to
Mm-hmm.
find a way to live with each other that way, because
Yeah.
you can never find everything you're looking for. And I mean,
True.
we grew up from two different backgrounds, so that's bent to happen.
And some things are not even as big of a deal like we
We make it off. Yeah.
make it up to be. For example, something like this now that I said of maybe eating. Now my husband is the last born, so there are so many things that he doesn't need to think about, and he's the last born is such that his elder siblings are a lot older than him. He has a
Mm.
elder sister who's like 16 years older than him. So
Wow.
if you look at it, it's almost like an only child in some side, because at
Mm-hmm.
the time when he was a kid, he was like really alone. So many things he's already used to having a lot of things. Either just this is your own, this is your own. Nobody's
Yeah.
coming to share something with you or coming to. So there are certain things that maybe he will do. I understand it from that perspective. I'm the first child. I'm
Mm-hmm.
I'm always the person sharing with
Yeah.
with everyone. And certain things some people do are not malicious in nature. It's just
How
like
they
I've
were
said,
raised.
something that they're just used to. And if that thing is not so much of a big deal, I mean, it doesn't. The world
It's
is not
just
going to come to an end.
it's just like couples fighting over should the toilet roll be this way or that way. I'm like,
Yeah, dude,
just buy two.
it's ridiculous. Yeah, it's
Just buy
ridiculous.
two. If that's gonna cause a problem for you people.
Anywhere the toilet you want to stay, let it stay. It's not.
As
It's
long as you
not
roll
that
it out.
exactly.
Do you press the toothpaste at the bottom or at the middle? I'm like, what are you
You
people
just
doing?
even all this thing of the person did not put down the toilet seat, they did not replace tissue paper. All those things are not problems. We make mountains out of
Out of
molehills a lot of
yeah.
time. There was this clip I was watching one time, and uh, the guy and his wife they were having dinner with a lot of people. And the lady was doing like moving around, and things were just almost hitting her. And it looks like unconsciously the man was protecting her, She wants to bend down, he puts his hand on the edge of the table so that
Mm-hmm.
she doesn't hit her head, or so many scenarios. In my mind, I say, really? Me that I even pass door, say, sometimes this man will forget and pass the door. The dog will want jam me. I'll say, hey, he will say, hey, God, sorry.
I mean, that's the reality of things. I mean, sometimes when they do all this movie stuff, it's like, oh, he's a gentleman or she's this and that. We are human beings. There's sometimes our mind are in something else. Like we are thinking about
Exactly.
something else that we're not even thinking about the person standing next to us.
Exactly. We
So
really
sometimes
think so
because
highly of
they
ourselves
paint
that
this
somebody
picture,
is. Mhm.
they paint these pictures online, these perfect pictures that, oh yeah, he did this, she did that. I mean, some
Mhm.
days you will forget. Some days you will not, you might open that door and forget it. Some
And
days you will not
forget
open the
and
door.
jam
So
the person. Sef. The person will.
that's the reality of life. I mean, we try to be so perfect online that like everybody watch those things online and they want to be as perfect as that when you know that it's not actually
It's
possible.
not actually. Yeah, it's
we,
not
we don't see
possible.
we don't see the behind scene of so many things. I was watching one clip the other day. The lady was talking about, they were like social media couples. They were doing all the whole TikTok trends and whatever.
Mm.
They are divorced right now because the man
Oh.
is abusive at the behind the scene, very
That's the
abusive.
thing
They
that people
broke up
so many people
because
don't think about, that
they
a lot
like
of
all
things
those
are
staged stuff.
exactly. Exactly. Do you know today? Today, so, every time I always say, my husband like to play. He can play that. And there's certain things that this man does inside the house. If I tell somebody outside, they'll say, if they look at him, they'll say, it's not, I don't
It's
believe
not
you.
man enough.
It's not the person that you're talking about. This man can play like a child. So he saw a video of a couple. The lady was sleeping, and then the husband just came and removed the pillow, removed the
Mm.
blanket, removed the
Yeah,
bedsheet,
I
and
think
he
I
was
saw
just
that
packing
video.
on
I
to.
think I saw that video today too.
So he came to me and he said, "Come and see your mate. If you see now, you go don't vex. Come and see your mate. See, I see how people are playing." I said, "Babe, show you that these people they mount camera, they stand. See, let me not be sleeping. You just come and put pillow. I would do like this."
You will throw you throw backhand.
you know. So for the for the first for the first couple of weeks when we were married, maybe I'm sleeping. My husband likes to cuddle a lot. So maybe I'm sleeping and he just brings his hand. My reflex is to just do like this.
you you
my,
you are
my
fighting
reflex is say,
Chinese.
Jesus, who is this person? So I hope I'm like, God, this man. I'm like, what is this?
I
Now,
mean,
over time, I'm consciously beginning to tell myself, okay, I'm in this house with someone who is very physical, who wants to hold you and sleep. Like this man can be sleeping, in the middle of the night, and he realize that he's not holding you, and he'll just turn on and adjust out. Me, a lot of times, I sleep really late, and I say, oh God, this man, can't you just sleep on your own side of the bed and not just come and press me to, to sleep? Things like that. This is the kind of thing that he will about me. If you can't pull my pillow, I'm sleeping. You can't, you can't pull it. I might use kickbox.
I saw that video and I had two different emotions. I was like, there are some people, they will actually play with you, while there are
Mm,
some people, they will take it very very serious because they actually needed that sleep. So it's more of like, and there is someone that will react to that situation in two different ways. There's someone who will lie down that way, and when the husband will pull the pillow and she will laugh, they will play, but then at the same person, but in a different time, if the
mhm.
man does that, she'll be very angry because it depends on the mental state you are in at that
At
particular
that
moment in
time,
time. You
exactly.
might be exhausted, tired, and you just wanted to just lie down and rest. And if your partner do something like that, it's not like you hate them, but it will piss you off deep down because, I mean, at that point you feel like this person is not being considerate about
Considerate.
what you are going through or what you went through. And also at some point, if maybe you just we're just not doing anything and they do it, you can just, it's a play moment. I just want people to understand that everything, someone can receive or someone can do things or react to things depending on where their mental state is. So at that
Yes.
particular point, it might be fun, it might be all play, they will enjoy it and play with you. But it depends on how they are feeling, their emotional state at that time. Sometimes they might not react the way you want it. It's something I've
Mm-hmm.
tried to learn over the years to understand people, because we most times you hear people say he just showed his true color, or she just showed his true color. What about the other colors they have been showing you since?
Showing
That
you
they have been
mhm.
good all the while, but just this one mistake they
The
did,
one day that
it's
they've
now
done
their true
something
color.
wrong.
It's now their true color. Every other color they have been showing wasn't true. So it's more of
Yeah.
like extending grace to people, understanding that one person can react to the same situation differently depending on their
Mm-hmm.
mental state. Well,
Mm-hmm.
anyway, I really want to catch the next question, because this one is
Yeah,
very
yeah.
interesting to me, because it's all about relocating. So you already said something about both of you being in Nigeria, working together, getting married, and other stuff. So, like, what was the relocation plan like? Was it his plan? Was it yours? Like, how did it happen? What's the transition like so far, and things like that?
So we got married here in Germany. We were engaged in Nigeria. Then we before we moved to Germany. It was his idea to move. This man, I was on my own peacefully. One day he came and said he wants to go to the abroad. Initially he was thinking of going to Canada, I think. Then later he his mind and said he'll go to Germany because his parents they were in Germany for a very long time. So they have friends here, they have a lot of network here and stuff. So at some point it was like, Germany would be better. And me at the time, I was very comfortable where I am in my work and in my life. So he was talking about traveling. I'm like, I'm more interested in this traveling thing that you're talking about. Oh. But I saw at some point that he really wanted to do this. We weren't even engaged at the time. We are just dating at the time. So when I saw that he was really serious with this his travel thing, I said, okay, no problems. Now, if you want to do the trip, that's okay. Then at that time, he wanted us to get married before he leaves, and I said, it's not me and you that's gonna be doing that. No, I'm not. I'm not gonna do that. I wasn't interested in getting married before he leaves because I felt that I didn't want him to go and feel. I don't want to use the word tied down,
Mm-hmm.
obligated, and feel obligated to do things just because he's married to me. You understand? So I was like, no, I don't. I'm not in support of that. You go if you get settled, and whatever we are doing, you still think that it's worth it for you. Okay, then maybe I can think about coming to join you and stuff. So the conversation went on for a very long time. Honestly, it was a difficult conversation. It cost us a lot of quarrels. Not like not like crazy quarrels, but quarrels like you don't believe what we have or you don't believe the relationship that we have and all those kind of things. Me generally I like to look at things very logically, and this is part of the problems that we're always having because we say when you want to be calculating, do think, do calculation, just do something. So I like to be very logical in the way I'm doing something. So at the time, I was telling him that there's so many people who get married and their spouses go abroad, and maybe because of new environments, new way of life, they feel like maybe they shouldn't have gotten married to this person. You understand? They feel like probably that was not a right choice for them.
Mm-hmm.
So I was saying, you go if you still want to do this. Then of course we are we are going to do it. And in my mind, honestly, I've always been of the mindset that husband, I cannot look for husband. It's not going to be a problem. If this one does not work, another one will work.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a do or die affair. So he was like, let's not do a church wedding. Let's do a court wedding. I said no. Okay, let's just go and do. No, they said let's go and do something on your head.
Yes,
Let's
sir.
go and pay bride price. I said, no, I don't want anything at all, really. Which was really painful for him. So, but at the end of the day, he said, okay, at least let's get engaged. So let it be that at least I've done something. I don't just want to just go. So that I was okay, that was a compromise in my
I,
mind. I
I would
said,
have loved to hear his perspective in this. because I know that would be very, very frustrating.
It was frustrating. It really sounded like I was really not interested in having this
Yeah, I mean
relationship. Yeah.
that's the vibe I would get if it was me. I'm like, okay, it seems
Yeah.
like this girl is not serious.
This guy is not serious. So.
If she believed in this, she would have actually fought for this.
Yeah, even till now, he used to say, if it's not for your stubbornness, you by now, you do know how far we would have gone. I, he's always saying, you're too stubborn. Let's do this till you say no. Let's do this. Me, he'll be like, I've told you from the very moment I met you that I'm going to, that is married, I want to marry. And you still think that I was joking or something. I told him that no, I didn't. I honestly didn't think that he was maybe joking or messing around and stuff. But for me, I was honestly looking out for myself. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't want to put myself in a situation where I'll be saying, ha, if I knew, yes, and if I knew I would have, been a little bit selfish. I've always been of the mindset that as long as you're not married, you have a right to be selfish. The moment you're married, I felt like the moment I'm married to this person, that small selfishness that I could have is gone. I don't have that. I
Mm-hmm.
cannot be that selfish anymore. This my single time is the only time I can completely think of myself and what is best for me,
Mm-hmm.
despite how I feel or how other people might see the situation. So really, I was honestly looking out for myself to be truthful. Not that I don't believe that we were dating and he really liked me. Anywho, he went, and I'll say that he really did he really did a lot because he was consistent in calling every season. That's the time I told you he would say, have you realized you have not spoken in so number of hours?
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be like, what is this man talking about? you know? Um but he did it for him at the time. um so many people were saying all kinds of things. You know what happens when you relocate and people are like, so that you make your life faster, just get married to a white woman, everything will just be easier. Besides,
Yeah,
you don't even know what this girl is doing in Nigeria
yeah.
and, and all that stuff. Plus, they'll tell you, say, "Ah, you bring a woman now to Germany or abroad. I'm going to show you Pepe, oh, this one, that one, all kinds of stuff. So
That story, those stories, I can relate. I know. I know.
it was really terrible. And one thing I appreciate with our relationship is that we talk about everything. If you think that you're telling my husband something and you think I will not hear, sorry, you're deceiving yourself. I'm sorry. If you come and tell me something, think it's secret, sorry. I'm, so, I'm sorry for you. So every single conversation, every single interactions that happens like this, he's always going to come back and tell me, can you imagine? Can you imagine what this person said? So I also was aware of the challenges that he too was facing during that period, and I appreciated the amount of work that he put into it. So immediately he got into Germany, he already started putting together money for me to move over to Germany, even though he was a student. So he was doing part-time jobs, putting money aside, and he was like, okay, you need to do this. You need to. I was not even serious with this my relocation. I was not serious with applying for school. He's the one that did all my applications. My own was just they'll say, oh yeah, send this one, send it to me. I'll just email him the document. He will do it. So okay, tomorrow is your exam for one thing, one thing, one thing. Go and write your exam. Do you know one day I even my IELTS? I forgot. I forgot I have IELTS exam. I was like, yeah, I'm serious. I'll tell you
Mm.
how unserious I was. But I really appreciated the amount of work he put into ensuring that I actually did this and put together the money that I needed for like the blocked account, and things like that. Then we eventually came. So because we were already engaged, his family too, they were aware of this relationship. So even they too were supportive in the relocation journey. So they were willing to help out in whatever way that they could at the time. My mom on her own side was like, "Hey, so you're traveling to go and meet man. You people are not married." I told her that's the reason why it's school I'm going to now. I'm going for. It's not
Mm.
necessarily like I'm traveling to meet man. We are just engaged, but I'm
School.
going to have my masters. So it's not like I'm just going there. And if I reach there, if he said he has changed his mind, talk, I will finish my
Continue with your school.
masters. It's not like it's not like it's a loss on every side. But knowing being part of the journey so far with him, I already knew that okay, this guy is not he's here, he's not he does not have a plan B, and he
Mm-hmm.
made it very obvious that there's no plan B anywhere. In fact, at some point, my friends then used to say that you have not been to this Germany, but you know this Germany more than the people that are in Germany. Because now will call me, he will do video call, will say, so I'm going to work, huh? I'm going to school, he will show me because I follow this man everywhere.
Uncle was in love. Uncle was really in love.
But it was a beautiful and stressful period at the same time, because it's nice that you can talk to somebody all the time on the phone, but it's never the same thing as having to see this
See
person
them.
physically.
Yeah.
So when the maybe like a date, for example, which kind of dates you want to do over the phone? People just be gisting.
Long
you
distance is
know
not for the weak.
it's not distance, long distance relationship is not for the weak at all. And times when maybe like you are really pissed. Now, my husband doesn't know how to be angry and let it go. He's the person that people can, if you quarrel today, you will settle that quarrel before you put sleep. The first time that we had a misunderstanding, as we were married, and I've slept. He did not understand it. He woke me up at some point. He said, do you mean you are sleeping? Do you mean you are comfortable sleeping? So you can imagine having to have such over the phone. If we have maybe a misunderstanding or whatever, because it's over the phone, somebody can vex and just end the call, and
Mm-hmm.
the conversation cannot be held. But if you were actually together, your physical higher, somebody would go to that person's house and say, we are
Mm-hmm.
talking about this, or however it is you want to solve the situation. But because of the distance, so many things would either be swept under the carpet, or something will really get in your nerves so much so that you cannot really deal with it because this person is not here. In any
Mm-hmm.
case, I finally came to Germany to start my studies, and then we um, started making preparations for the marriage. So we got married here in Germany, and yeah,
So how like adjusting to marriage in Germany? I'm guessing not having family around and all those kind of
yeah.
stuff. Was there any struggle there?
For us, there was no. It's two things now. First thing, like I said previously, my husband is a very friendly person, so he's always making friends. He's always anywhere he goes to. He's always very helpful. He's helpful even if he's not going to get anything from you. He's willing to do that. Now, because he's that kind of person, it is natural that people will want to help this
Mm-hmm.
person when they need help. So we got married during Corona, and we did the church wedding rather during Corona. Of course, we've already done the the traditional marriage, the bride price paying, which in my head, at least in my opinion, is the marriage is the main thing.
Mm-hmm.
So we've already. Oh, I said 5 years. No, not 5 years. It's 4 years. it's, it's 4 years.
2020.
Yes, it's 4 years. I made a mistake. Yeah, we we had done all of that, and when it was time for the marriage itself, we didn't have our family here to help us, but we
Mm-hmm.
had people here that came from all over the place. We initially planned to have for the wedding itself, for example, that's outside of all the runarounds that needed to be done, or information that you need because you're living abroad, information you need to maybe do like a marriage registration and all those kind of wahala
Mm-hmm.
things. People were willing to help us out. People were willing to put together stuff for the marriage itself to happen. Me, I wasn't even ready to do like a complicated wedding. I even told him, let's go to the pastor's office and let him just pray for us. Let's be
Get this
doing
over with.
get it over because all this drama, I don't have energy for it. But people from the church, friends, everyone was like, don't worry, this one, don't worry, we're taking care of its food. But do you know, after our wedding, we did not, in fact, we even had money
Mm.
after our wedding because people paid for us, people did so many things for us. The hall was People, someone took care of the hall. Food was taken care of. Drinks taken care of. Everything, every single thing was taken care of. We had two receptions. We had a reception on Saturday, another reception on Sunday, and we didn't
Ah,
spend a dime. It
ah,
was all taken care of, and that's because
interesting.
people, people showed
Uh,
up. People did a lot to support, and that was because of the kind of person that my husband is. Me, if it's left for only me, nobody. I'm sure nobody will come.
Nobody will show up.
because because
Apostle Selman always say that relationship is a currency, because if you have good relationship with people, they will always come through for you. Even
Mhm.
times when you don't have money, people will show up for you. So I think
Yeah,
that's very important. I mean, the circle you have also influences your marriage in so many
it
ways, which
is.
so many people they are not aware of, or they don't really
Mhm.
care about, because they think they can hang around with everybody, and then they
Which
start seeing their
is
marriage take a very deep dive, because
deep dive.
the
The
the the people they keep around them are not really empowering their marriage to grow, or maybe they are just tearing them apart and all those kind of
Mhm.
things.
Especially if you live abroad, because people will say all kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
People will say all kinds of things from their own life experiences that is not even ideal.
Yeah.
Like this, all these conversations of, say, if you bring someone from Nigeria, bring someone from back home abroad, that's this is what these women they do one thing, one thing, one thing. People say it so much so that it sounds like that is the
It's the only
standard.
thing. Yeah, this time. I mean, that's what I was trying to. I wrote a post the other day on Facebook, and I was saying that basically the truth is that, and that's one of the reasons I'm trying to do this, what I'm doing right now, because I really want people to hear the other side of it. Because it seems like bad news travel faster than good news. Bad
Hmm.
news spreads faster than good news, because I think for some weird reason, human beings, we are drawn to negativity. We want to spread, like, if something happens to your marriage now, five people will make a reaction video, 10 people,
Hmm.
20, especially if you're a celebrity, everybody will talk about it. But if you
Hmm.
do good, maybe just one person, or maybe in a day it trends and that's it. But if you
Some
do
people will even
something,
say,
if
and so then they
if
do.
if you do something bad, they will talk about it for a very long time. Everybody will want to have a reaction. Everybody want to write a blog post. Everyone will
True.
want to say something about it. But then we see good things happening and nobody's actually projecting it out there. So it's more of like, now in the dating scene, there's this unrealistic expectation. There is this unrealistic thing people have spoken into. It's more of like they are spoken it into reality, in the sense that everybody hears it and they think that's what it is,
That's
and
what
there
it is.
is no
Yeah.
other side. And I keep telling people, like, if you think there are no good persons out here, then you are really delusional, seriously, because that means you should also add yourself to that equation, that of people that are
That
not
you
good,
two are not a
because
good
you
person.
cannot be the only good person in this world. And I
Exactly.
mean, even when they talk about statistics, 50 percentage of marriages end in divorce, 75 are initiated by women. All those, they are statistics. And I'm like, this is just America, for example, because those are where they get those statistics. There are a lot of people married in Africa and they are still married. There are a lot of people
Hmm.
married in other countries, they are still married, they are not divorced. So why are we using these statistics that was gathered with how many people
Mm.
to judge the whole situation? So when I hear that, every statistics I hear, I try as much as possible to hold it with a pinch of salt, because I know that it's not entirely true. Because
Hmm.
when you're talking about statistics, you are talking about, you measure the particular number of people, until somebody takes statistics that involve everybody in the world,
Everybody, then we can
every single soul in
agree.
the world, then I will agree with you that this is what it. But yeah, I'm not saying statistics are wrong, but I just take it with a grain of salt, because I know that there are possibilities that this is not true. And it's always, stats is always about the negative things. Yeah, you must never get stats for the good things that are happening, especially in marriage. It's always the negative
Yeah.
sort of things. So I just, like I said, it seems like human being in general, they are just drawn to negativity. And
Hmm.
what I would have loved to hear from your husband is like how he felt in this whole thing, because personally, to me, when you were talking about him moving, making those sacrifices, calling, and you're not really taking it that serious per se, not like you're not taking it, but like the way you are seeing it, the way you're seeing it, like I would have loved to know how he perceived it, because I think that's another thing. Like,
Hmm.
when we hear these things, he will travel and he will find somebody else. And I'm not trying to just look at it from the man's perspective, also the woman's what those information do to you as a person. You now start thinking, well, if he travels, he might find somebody else and then forget about me. And that can even make you either become very anxious and jeopardize the relationship, sabotage the relationship, or even break up the relationship, or even become too overprotective and all those kind of things. You can
Mm-hmm.
just put so many ideas in your head. But I love what you said about the communication, because I think largely what I've heard from you today, or what I've perceived from you today, is that communication played a very huge role in
Yeah.
keeping you guys together. Because even from the very first day you guys met and started talking till when he traveled, you guys stayed talking about real things and not just licking ice cream, eating
Mm-hmm.
shawarma, and all those kind of stuff people used to do today and think they're actually getting to know people. Like I was telling somebody someday that it doesn't take that long to get to know somebody. Like there are some friendships you have 5 years, you don't even know them that much. And
Mm-hmm.
there are some friendships you have 3 months, 6 months. It feels like you
Yeah.
know
It feels
everything
like
about
you've
them
known.
because
Mm-hmm.
you guys are actually talking very well. Like you guys are not just having random or basic conversation. You're actually having good conversation. You know their thought pattern, you know their values, you know their mindsets, you know so
Mm-hmm.
many things. But then there's somebody else 5 years, you don't even know anything about them. If they call you, what's their favorite? You don't even know. But you guys have been
Mm.
friends per
For
se
so long. Mm-hmm.
for so long. So when I think about
True.
this, I'm like, it is what it is. People just need
Yeah.
to learn that when it comes to marriage, you really need to talk. Because I think that's for
True.
me, that's one thing I've learned
That is
from
the
this.
most
You
important
need to
thing. The
talk. You really
most.
need to talk. If you're not talking in your marriage, if you're not talking in your relationship, you will really not even get to, because some people think that you need 5 years, 10 years. Even when you
Mm-mm.
said you guys have already spent 4 years in your relationship and you're still knowing it, I feel like you guys have gone farther than most people who are married for 10 years. Because
True.
it depends on your communication level, because you don't know people just by not by years. You don't, like I just said, you don't know people by years. You
Yeah.
know them by the information
Information that
exchange.
is exchanged.
What's the
Exactly.
information that is being exchanged? That's how you know people.
Mm-hmm.
Because and also what are the characters that are seen. So it's more of like information, character. How much of it have you seen in since you started being with this person, compared to
Mm-hmm.
somebody you are married to 10 years and people are not talking. You are
Talking.
not
Exactly.
having great conversations. You probably don't. The only part of them you see is the negative side of them and all this kind of stuff. So for me, it doesn't take a whole lot of time to get to know that this is the person for you, or doesn't take the whole lot of time, because sometimes people say, I'm trying to get to know each other, I'm trying to know them. You're in a relationship 5 years. What are you?
They are
You
still
say,
knowing
well, we need to do this, we need to do that. You will never get to know everything about this person. That's
everything.
one thing we know for sure, because even human beings, I don't even know everything about myself. I'm gonna evolve
Mm-hmm.
tomorrow and I'm gonna be like, who is this? Because right now I'm looking at myself, I am the most reserved I've ever been in my life.
Hmm.
When you look at me like that, people see me talk and all those kind of stuff, write posts, and they be like, "Oh, this guy probably is an extrovert." I'm super introverted. I've accepted it. But then sometimes when you see me, you will not see that side of me, especially if I'm around
Mm.
people that I like so much or I flow with. But then I'm seeing a different side of me because I've evolved. So even the person you're getting married to tomorrow is gonna evolve. Like they're gonna evolve, and you're gonna question, who is this?
This person. Mm-hmm.
But it's more of like both of you have to keep learning each other every day. You wake up, this is another day to learn who I've been married to, or
True.
to learn what other version of this person I'm going to be seeing today. And it
True.
happens through conversations, communication, and talking about things. I mean, I've said
True.
I wasn't even supposed to be talking in this, but
No,
I
there
was
was
like,
you talked about his what he must have been feeling. I will not be able to give you a very accurate answer, but I can give you a little bit, at least from a couple of times. There have been a few times when um I respond in my usual nonchalant, very carefree manner, and sometimes it tells me you do realize I'm a human. So, and when he says that, it comes back to my mind that I need to pay closer attention to how I either respond or how I pass the message that I want to pass. So sometimes he talks about how, first, we talk a lot. Like I said, during that period of not being together, we were talking every single day. We talked a lot for a whole lot of reasons. So I told you how that so many people will tell you different things. And when we talk, he tells me how that this is his own way of also keeping himself in check. because he's a human and has a tendency to err or to derail or
Mm-hmm.
to do whatever. So no matter how good a person you think you are, you have the every person has a tendency to do something bad.
Mm-hmm.
So I appreciated the fact that even when he has this content in his mouth, or at least when he thinks about this, he talks to me about it to say, when you do something like this, or when you say something like this is how it makes me feel about it. Because you're not even helping me in this my hard work. That I'm trying to be a good person here, and you're not even helping in this. But then another thing that he would always say is that from the get go, he has already decided in his mind that this is the person that he wants to be with because of one, two, three, four, five reasons that he has. And based on that, he has already decided that if this girl likes, she should, anything she wants to be doing is our business.
Yeah. It's
Well,
more of like magnifying the things that are important to him and minimizing
yes,
the things that are not so important
not
to
so
him.
important.
Because
And good thing is that we had dated for a we had dated for 4 years. We had dated for 4 years before we got engaged. So before he came to Germany. So we have really spent a lot of time. And he already knows me and knows my natural disposition to things. So some of these things he would tell himself, "Ah, na so oge dey do." That's the way she is. This is how she would respond. It's not because of this. I know this person, you know. And so
mhm,
when maybe I react in a certain way, he knows it's not a malicious intention. He knows I'm not saying it because I don't like him or I don't respect his feelings or opinions. He understands that um, this is me being me. And he was able to stick to his decision to do this, which I do really appreciate. And if I could rewind time, I think I'll do a few things
yeah,
better.
that funny enough, that's what I wanted to ask. I was like, looking back at time now, what could you have done better? What would you do differently?
Yeah, I would probably be much more sensitive in the way I handle the whole, let's say for example, with the traveling thing. Maybe I still wouldn't have done the marriage, the wedding before he
Mm-hmm.
traveled. I doubt that I still would have done that. Still wouldn't have done that, but I probably wouldn't have said it outrightly. Like, I don't know, when you travel, you might change your mind. I probably wouldn't have put it in such a blunt way that would look like, okay, when you go, I know that you see other people and you might get carried away, something like that. But I
Mm-hmm.
probably would have thought it through properly and and bear in mind that I'm talking to a human being that has feelings that could feel bad about the way I'm putting this thing, and then put more effort in the communication while he was away. Because we talked a lot, but a lot of the work came from his own side. He was one always calling most of the time. I call, of course, but he was the one always, and I really, really appreciate him for that. He was the one always putting in the work to make sure that he keeps in touch. He's aware of everything that's going on. And because all the nonsense I was doing, it's enough for him to say, I'm even the
He's
one putting
done.
together money. You understand? I'm putting down money for you to come here, and you're behaving like this. I also think I would um try to think less highly of myself. Um, Maybe because I've always had, like I said previously, I've always said to myself, husband is not a problem. If one did not work, and as honestly has always been something I have in my mind. I've never held so tightly to people to say, ah, I don't know. I used to tell my friends that if I'm dating somebody, even the person knows that if you do anyhow, me, I don't have energy for unnecessary stress or drama. I'll carry my load and we'll just be going our separate ways peacefully. There are plenty men in the world. That's one person who can be stressing me. But then once we get married, we die here. We're gonna do this thing. Except you really go out of your way to make it not work. But if there's
Mm-hmm.
everything that's on my own part that I should do, um, I'll be committed to do it because I feel like a marriage and just a boyfriend girlfriend relationship is they are two completely different dynamics. So I have a different mindset towards marriage and a different mindset towards a relationship. But if I am to do things differently now, I would not be having that sense of say, if this one doesn't work, somebody else will come, Joe. It's not that deep, I know. Because this
you
kind of
wouldn't
you say what?
you, you wouldn't even be doing that this day and age that everything is in a
My dear,
way
that
getting tougher. It's getting tougher
it's
every day.
getting tougher.
It's getting tougher every day. To be true, to be honest with you, that I will be honest with that one. It's getting tougher every day
Yeah.
because of this information overload on the negative side we have out there.
Mm,
So, and what you're saying is basically what is happening to I think a lot of ladies today. There's this idea that I have options.
mm,
If I don't like this, I just discard it and all those kind of stuff. And
mm.
what you see is that some when you start putting it into perspective, you discover that your options are not many.
They're not so
They
much of
might
my.
you might have a lot of option hypothetically somewhere like they are all over in the world, but the
Mm,
problem is that when we narrow it down to what it's supposed to be, you might have, let's say, in real life, your whole life in the whole world, if we take it into account, you
mm,
might be compatible to be with say 1,000 people,
mm,
but the problem is that 999 of those people stay nowhere close to you. You don't even know them.
mm,
You get my point? So when we start looking at things from the reality side of things, you start discovering that 50 people might be on your DMing you about their interest to be with you and all those stuff. But
mm. Yeah.
when you start filtering, first of all, you say, I'm a Christian, I need a godly man. And you
Mm-hmm.
discover that 50 of them, maybe 40 or even
I
30,
know.
are not
Mm-hmm.
godly people. They don't have any relationship with God. That's
Yeah.
from 50, you divide it into two. 25 has gone out. Then you now start saying, I want a kind person, I want this. You start chipping them out, chipping them out.
Mm-hmm.
Before you know what's happening, you just have one person left. And maybe now, because you won't have one unrealistic expectation of he must be 6 feet, then that one that is there that you had that option that it could have been will now be 5'10" or even 5'5", and you say, no,
Mm-hmm.
I can't
I
do that.
cannot. I can't.
You
I can't
eliminate that
lower my
one too.
standard.
Yeah. So yes, the idea of options has really kept a lot of people single
Yeah.
because you might have a lot of people DMing you, stopping you on the road, but then by the time you start chipping away things that are
You
actually
find
things that
that
now you know what, you start finding out that they're not that a lot. And I think it's where people now start looking for 100%. I'm like, you don't have to have 100%.
no.
Find
Nobody,
a
even you that is looking for hundred
You're not
percent,
even
you don't
hundred
have
percent.
100%. So
Find the 80% or the 60% or the 70. I don't know. Find the amount that is enough that you can actually deal with.
mhm.
It's as long as this thing is within the healthy standard that I want it to be. That
Any
amount
other
is
thing
okay
is
for you. Any other
superficial.
things you can just you can do without it, or you can just find a way to manage without it.
Yeah.
Because that's the case. So looking back at those things, and I love what you're sharing right now about things you would have done differently,
Yes,
because
I
this is a
wish.
lesson. This is a lesson for a
Truly,
lot of people out there, because
truly.
this is what they don't. Most people, they'll tell you. Someone said something the other day. Why don't you want to date somebody that has a bad past? I'm like, because I'm warning them today not to create bad past for themselves, but they will ignore it because they want to have fun. Tomorrow, tomorrow it becomes a past. Then nobody wants to deal with you.
Mm.
You get my point? You are hearing it right now. Do what is necessary to do, change, become better, and all those stuff. But they will not do it until it becomes too late. And then they will not want somebody to
To deal with it.
deal with it or something like that. No, it doesn't happen that way. Now you're hearing it. Don't end up tomorrow saying, had I known. Now you're hearing this. I'm talking to you
Yeah.
guys out there. You're hearing this now. Make sure you don't act like her. She did all those things, but she's not saying do it the way she did it. Now she's
No,
telling you what she
because
could have
no,
done
no,
better.
that was very, very uninformed of me. Because imagine that this guy just got fed up with all my nonsense behavior. I just say, I just say, please, 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 you're stressing me too much. Come and go. But to also be fair on my own side, the fact that I felt that if one relationship doesn't work, another would work. It didn't mean that I was not committed to the relationship that I was in. So because there are
Mhm.
two different things. There's one thing that you feel that you have options, and because of that, you're not committed. You don't put work in this one because you
Mhm.
feel like if this one go, nothing will happen. Some other one would
Come.
come along. No, that was not the case. So I don't totally put myself in a bad in a bad light. I still understood that I'm in a relationship with this person. I owe the person certain level of commitment, and all.
Mhm.
But I was also thinking about myself as well to ensure that I'm not shooting myself in the foot in one
Mhm.
way or another. But like I said, I should have done better. I should have communicated um not so harshly. I should have been a lot more considerate in the way I
Yeah.
present my opinion, which to be fair are not entirely wrong, but I should have presented them in a way that doesn't make the other person um feel not so great about
Yeah.
the situation. But I really do appreciate this man because I'm not sure,
I mean,
people will not manage me like even me. I will not
personally,
manage myself.
personally, when you were saying it earlier, I was like, okay, if it was me, I know that I would have given it my best, but at some point, I might have checked out because, I mean,
Yes.
thinking about myself, I'm like, I want if I'm committed to you and I'm showing you practical steps of what we are doing or where we are going.
Mm,
That's the kind of person I am too. I want you to be making practical steps too towards
mm,
it to actually display that you believe in the vision, not just okay, drag me along wherever you're dragging me
mm,
to. So it's more of like you
mm.
believe in it. But I understand also from your own perspective as a person, like if I think about it and try to position myself in yourself and your in your position, what I see could be that I've seen situations where people get married and they are left in Nigeria, for
Yes.
example.
It's a
They are
real
they
thing.
are forgotten. So all those kind of
Yeah.
things. When you look
And
at
the
that,
husbands will just come once in 1 year. Every year they just come and go. They
yeah,
just come, have babies and go. Have
yeah,
no, no, no.
yeah.
This
So when you look at it from that perspective as a lady, yeah, it makes sense that you are skeptical about actually getting married because you don't want to be tied down here, tied down by a man that is not even around you and
Mhm,
doesn't even care to come pick you or something like that. So looking at it
mm,
from that perspective, it makes sense to not wanting to get married. But I love also taking accountability for the fact that you would have done things differently about your communication and how you actually approached the whole thing. I mean,
mhm.
this one is especially for people out there who might be having similar battle of because now relocation is a big thing in so many places. So in case
Yeah.
you want to drag yourself and your partner out of the country, so you pay attention to
I've
this
had a
side.
few I've
Yeah,
had a few friends who have also somehow become I've gotten in the same situation. But like one of my friends who just came to Germany recently, they got married before they moved, and she called a couple of times to say, so we're getting married and this guy is so and so place, I don't know what to do. I know you have gone through something similar, even though it's not exactly the same. And I appreciate the fact that I'm able to tell some of these friends of mine based on my own experience,
mm-hmm.
to say if this man is showing you that he's committed to this, help him and make
Mm-hmm.
that commitment easier,
Yeah.
because
Because
it
if
is
you're
not
running with a vision, you need someone who buys into that vision too.
exactly. And usually to make even his own hustle that he's trying to also, to do, it makes it easier, it makes it more bearable, you
Yeah.
know, to go with. And I'm very happy like this particular person now. She's now in Germany, with her husband as well. So I'm super
Nice.
happy for that. Another person too is also working on that, and I'm just telling them go for it. If you are committed to this, and you have been with this person, you know that this person is not messing around with you. Do it, and start to work on whatever you guys need to work on. Start working on it on time. The
Okay.
earlier,
I
the
mean,
better.
yeah. So, I mean, as we are rounding up, I mean, like, what advice as a married person who has been married for like 4 years now? What advice would you? I want you to approach it from two different perspectives. So, first would be to the single persons who are maybe in a relationship or even maybe single in general. But to the single persons, what advice would you give to them about marriage that like more of like looking at it from reality and theory. So, what advice would you have for this married person about coming into marriage? And then the second part of it will be what advice do you have for anybody who's currently married now that might be going through one challenge or the other?
I'll start with a single person who is about to get married. Um, I'll give the same advice that I think um, my mom would always tell me at the time, that look at marriage like a business, you know. And if you're starting a business, there are so many things that you consider. You don't go into a partnership with someone just because you like the way this person looks, or or you like the way he talks. He can talk very nicely. It will not. It's not what will float this business. So she always said, look at this. Look at the marriage you're going into like a business, and think about it. Who are you ready to do this business with, that you're sure will not go, and that will not jeopardize the business. You cannot be 100% sure with everything, just like with business. A lot of these things are risks. So don't be thinking of, say, because it's a risk, it's possible that we're going to get divorced. No, you don't go into the business already thinking that this business will fail. So because it is probably going to fail, so let us already start now to plan
Failure.
or behave like it is going to fail. So even though we know that it's a possibility, that we should not dwell on it. So we're looking at, who am I going to run this business with? We're going to be having children. How is this person a sound partner to have kids with? My husband used to say something that he tells his friends that, even though he says it very casually, but he used to say that one of the things he's very happy about with this his wife is that he knows that, God forbid anything happens to him, he knows that his children will not suffer. He knows that his children will be all right. So I feel that this is something you should also consider. If something happens to you, is this your partner somebody that can hold the front, in whatever capacity that you think they should? Is this person considerate, in the sense that people can be very romantic people, but they are not considerate people. They're not kind people. A kind person is going to look out for you. The person might not, like I said in the beginning, not be thinking about you every single time, but at the end of the day, the person has your best interest, at
Mm-hmm.
heart, which is not just you as a person. The person is looking at the business. I'm calling it a business. Right? People say make you feel uncomfortable, but I honestly do see it, do see it that way. They see this union as something that should not be jeopardized, and they are willing to protect it. So me, I would say that just the same way you will do a lot of work and research and consideration and thinking and planning before you go into whatever regular business you will do, is the same way you should do, like you're going to be going into this marriage, because we are going in not to come outside, we're going into, to run with this thing for a very long time. But while we are doing all of this plus and minus, we should not focus on the major on the minor and minor on the major.
Mm-hmm.
So there are things that don't matter in reality. There's so many things that movies have lied to us about, that in real life they don't count. That the person is not texting you every morning to say, beautiful, beautiful queen of the have you risen up to this to this to the sun or something. Some people might not be so fluent, in words and all that, but those are not the essence of the relationship that you're trying to build, or the marriage that you're trying to have. But while some people might not be fluent in conveying their words, they are conveying their emotions or whatever in words, they should be able to show you in character, in the way they do things, in the way they respond to things that concerns you. Even if the person is not giving you plenty things to bamboozle you, but the person should be
Mm-hmm.
able to show you that they do care about you, and you're important to them. This all of these things, I'm not mentioning, say, the person should be God fearing now, because all those ones are standard.
Those are
Yeah,
standard.
it's
Those are
not. It's
standards.
not what we're supposed to be talking about. Even say kind. Say we're not even supposed to be talking about kindness, and these are supposed to be standard things that you're supposed to know. But no matter how good or kind or whatever a person is, some people will just know. You will just not work with some people. Because two kind people might be, yes, but the two of them might just not work together.
Yeah, I want to
Probably.
pitch. I want to before you continue. I want to pitch something here, because I don't want to forget this,
Mhm.
because I hear this a lot when women or even men, when they say there's this kind man who was kind to me, but I couldn't be with him. they always get a backlash from men, especially. Most women say that, like, he was kind, he was good, but it didn't just work. And then they get bashed by people because they are like, he's good, why not make it work? But I want people to understand that somebody being good, somebody being kind, somebody appearing all that quality doesn't necessarily mean that it will work out between both of you.
Both, yeah.
Kindness, goodness, they are not the only quality that makes marriage work, because somebody can be
Mm-hmm.
kind to you, somebody can be good to you, but then they are not Christians, for example. And it will
Mm-hmm.
bring a lot of friction when it comes to, especially if you're somebody who has a very strong belief in your
Mm-hmm.
faith, it will bring
Mm-hmm.
frictions. And also, if the person can be kind and be good and all those stuff, but then there are core things, there are character traits that you can't just get past,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe they are going in different direction in life and you're going in
In
another
life.
direction. So it's, yeah, I just want to say that before I forget it, because that's something I've seen a lot in social media this day and age. When somebody say he was good, he was kind, but it couldn't just work out, it feels like you should be able to work out with anybody who's good and kind. No, it's
No.
that's not how it works. But anyway,
Mm-hmm.
keep going.
Yeah, it's exactly what you have said now. It's kindness, all this kind of, there are certain things that we shouldn't be saying the person has to, because this should be a basic human trait first, and then every
Hmm.
other thing that should be added. Then we
Yeah.
talked about having conversation. It's very important that even before the marriage, we're having real conversations of real problems. There are so many things that might come up in a relationship that a lot of times we try to avoid. Things like money. What happens if one person is jobless for a while? What happens if both of us are jobless for a while? What happens if somebody is sick? How are we able to navigate these kinds of, because these are things that happens. For example, when we got married, um my we got married on a Saturday and I had a surgery on a Monday. So we spent our honeymoon in the hospital for weeks. We have not even done inside the marriage.
That's not the
So
dream marriage for so many people, but then that this is reality.
you know and that happened because the surgery dates they were postponing until somehow the date was postponed until just after the marriage. And um it was a major surgery, which in fact at some point I was telling my husband at the time, before the wedding, I was telling my time, are you sure you really want to really go ahead with this marriage? Because you know these are real things that I should talk about, because it, life can happen.
Yeah.
So what do we do? We cannot simulate every situation. We cannot think about every single thing that would go wrong. But there are certain things we can that we know that a lot of people uh, experience, that we can easily say one or two or three things that okay, if this happens, how do we deal with it? Childlessness, for example.
Hmm.
There's so many things that can happen in in marriage that it would be great if we at least are able to have spoken about, so that when we are not praying that these things happen, but in case they happen,
How do you
how are we
navigate?
able to start navigating, so that by the time that time reaches, even if one person forgets, that person can say, remember we talked about this, and this is how we said we are going to do it. Okay, maybe the way we said it before is not exactly the way we can do it now, but at least we've already started off, the basics. So conversations are very important. And I see people have conversations about their partners with just everybody. And I think I don't know if other people think so, but I think it's not the right thing. It's good that you have certain people that you listen to, that you get advice from, but not every single person should have an opinion in your relationship. This is the way I see it.
This is good.
Because too many hands spells the soup.
Hmm.
The person tell you this one, someone tell you this one, someone tell you this one, someone tell you this one. You too, you need to use your own head to filter the people that you have certain conversations with. When people talk about how God should be the third person in your marriage and in your relationship, it should start not just, it's not when you reach the marriage that God will be the third person, even from the relationship. God needs to already start to be the third person before you start going to go and meet friends and say, this one, do you know that? Do you know that this is my guy? Do you know that? Because the moment you start talking to people about your partner, um you've already given them leverage or given them permission to look at your partner in a certain light. You've already
Exactly.
reduced the image of your partner in front of that person. The person will not know, one day the person will not know when the person will say something and say it's not you that is, something like that.
Yeah.
Or will talk to him anyhow as if say something. The person will wonder you, what did I do to this person? It's simply because of the small unnecessary gossip that you have made, in front of maybe your friends, in the bid to look good, or in the bid to have conversation with your friend, not just to just gist gossip
Yeah.
for no apparent reason. You just make some silly comments.
Comments.
Of course, if things are really going south, you need to speak to somebody. Please, of course, do that. But not every single. So, let's assume, for example, now I told you the other time that I bring us food, and my husband just eat, and forget that the food is supposed to be for two people. Imagine I go and talk to my friend now and say, "Do you know that man? That's how I bring her food. He will just eat everything. All this mess. Tomorrow, maybe we go to an event and this my friend is the one sharing food. It's possible she might not even know when she will say, no chop this food finish or that, something like
It's for you and your wife. Hey,
do,
problem.
do you understand? You've already given this person, you're the
Leverage.
one that opened the door
Yeah.
for for disrespect, um in any form, whether disrespect or whatever bad thing that might happen. So for me, that's, I don't know if I've covered every other thing that's in my head,
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
think
I feel
this.
I feel like you've said a lot. Yeah, like I mean, this typically also applies to married people too. Like talking to people outside of your marriage. I believe in having a third person that both of you can talk to,
Mm,
like both of you are aware that, and this person has to be someone that has authority over both of you, that both of you can consult in case something isn't really, like both of you, at least you talk to that person when you know both of you can't figure it out. Both of you have tried to figure it out, but then you can't figure it out. Then you talk
mm,
to this person to help you, because sometimes third sides, or maybe a third party who is qualified, can help you people see what you're not seeing. Because most times
differently.
when we are both involved in situations, we're only seeing from our own point of view, but a third
Hmm.
person can break things down and help you to see from each other's point of view. And that is when both of you are not able to get to that point yourself.
Point
That's when you should
yourself.
avoid them, involve
Yeah.
them. But going about talking about your spouse behind their back, especially the negative side of it, you're
Mm.
just handing people keys, because tomorrow they will see your husband. They will, sometimes people inherit enemies. They inherit
Yeah.
things. They like just inherit all those things. Like somebody who was good, who was very respectful to your husband,
Mm.
tomorrow they will see the man. I'm like, "Eh,
Mm.
that man that
Oh,
is
eh.
because you only know people deeply when you get close to them and they are vulnerable with you. Like there's sometimes I
Mm-hmm.
even avoid some certain people because I don't want to really get close to them, because I don't want to uncover that side of them that will
Mm-hmm.
make me start feeling like, okay, I need to step back a little bit. I just stay from it afar because I want to respect what they do and what they stand
Mm.
from. I don't want to know
Mm-hmm.
the other part of them, because if I get to know the other part of them, if I'm not wise enough to control how I feel or something like that, it might lead to disrespect. And I don't never want to get to that point of leading to that point. So I
Yeah.
get what you are saying so much. And I really, really love and appreciate you for
Mm.
actually sharing all those things. I mean, marriages are challenging. Like I have not been in it, but one thing I know for sure is that I've seen a lot, I've heard a lot, and I know that marriage can be easy or hard, but it all boils down to who you decide to do the marriage with.
With,
If you
yeah.
pick if you pick the weapon fashion against you, if that's the person you pick, the weapon fashion against you, you will experience hell. You will experience a lot of challenges. But if you pick somebody who cares, who actually is very intentional about having a healthy marriage with you, then I mean you're gonna face challenges, but then both of you have a way to navigate and figure it out without tearing each other apart.
Each other
Because that's
apart.
why so
Mm-hmm.
when I say it's gonna be easy, I'm not saying it's gonna be a bliss or whatever. But then it gets easier over time because both of you know how to sort out your issues without pulling each other down. So I
Mm.
mean, this
And
is
it's
super
even,
good.
yeah, yeah. Even in terms of talking about ease, if sometimes I feel I don't even like to say things like marriage is hard work or marriage is challenging. A lot of times I don't even like to say that because I feel like some people have painted marriage in such a way that it looks like it's such a difficult thing. You
Yeah.
know, there was a day I made a post, I made a video one time. I can't even remember when I was saying that all the things all the things people say that marriage is this, marriage is that. I mean, I've not even started seeing it. Or probably we have not gotten
You are
to
still
that
in the
point
honeymoon or something like that.
exactly because sometimes I feel when we already have a preconception that this thing is hard, it already
You go in
automatically
with,
makes it hard.
yeah, you
Exactly,
go in with a particular kind of
exactly.
mindset to defend and battle. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's
Yeah.
hard. So let me gym up
Yeah,
and get ready
exactly.
for
Let's prepare
how
for
hard
battle.
it will be. Let's prepare for battle.
you
No,
know,
prepare
Maybe
rightly, but don't prepare with that
like you are
mindset.
going for
Yeah,
a war. Because at the end
yeah,
of the day, I feel like this is just like this is where I see it. I always say it like you are just relating with some other human being the way you relate with another human being. The only
yeah,
difference now is that this person, people are living in the same house, and you
yeah,
guys have to make sure that whatever both of you are doing is beneficial for the family. Then
yeah,
eventually, maybe one or two or three other people come out of this union. So I usually don't like to think about it like work.
yeah,
Maybe that's why I don't. Maybe that's why when you asked about traits that are annoying. Maybe that's why I've not really thought so much
yeah,
about it. I feel like you wake up in the morning, it's just normal. People go about your day, come back, you gist, you talk, or whatever it is that happens. And it's just like living every other normal day.
yeah,
But just like with your normal friendships, it's also work. You need to put some commitment. You need to
yeah,
call your friend and check on them. You need to, if somebody is saying something about your friend, you stand up for your friend and say, no, this person, no, it's not like that. Or, things like that. It's still, I feel like it's the same relationship you have with other people. The only difference now is that you people are much more um
closer.
closer, and then now you can see this person, maybe the person farts in the house and stuff. Maybe they
Yeah,
doesn't do that outside, but inside the house the person is weird. You just see a little bit more intimate things about this person as opposed to
yeah,
what you will see with a normal friend. So the grace you will give your friend, you just give a little bit more to this person because now you are seeing much more vulnerable part. At least that's why I see. So usually that's why I don't like to say marriage is hard work, but everything in life is hard work. Even the job that
yeah.
you are doing is hard
It's
work
hard
because
work.
you need to put in everything you are doing needs to put in something for you to
Yeah,
get something out. But usually we don't say these things are hard work. We don't say friendship is hard work, or we don't say um going to work. Of course, we complain about going to work, but you get the point I'm making.
yeah, yeah. I
So
think yeah. Go, okay, finish up.
yeah, so I like to while I understand the concept of the hard work thing, which is that you need to put in work for the relationship to work. I just always feel that people should remember that it's not a
Carrying 5 bag of cement.
yes, that kind of a thing. It can be easy as well. And just like you said, it also depends on who you choose. If you go and choose um uh somebody that that like problems always talk,
You see problem.
you
Yeah,
see
I mean, like,
problems
yeah,
always.
just in conclusion, I when I think about it, I feel like like I said earlier, it's who you are doing it with, and I think
Mm,
also it boils down to why you are in the marriage. I think
mm,
that's like, for me, that would be the golden thing. Why you are in the marriage, because a lot of people are in the marriage for selfish reasons, and the moment you are there for a selfish reason, it's bound to fail no matter what you do. Once it's
mm,
about, because a lot of people go into marriage with the me mindset. Oh, what do I gain from this marriage? How does this marriage
mm,
serve me? But if you go into this marriage with how do we serve ourselves, how do we actually, if you make marriage a thing,
mm,
and both of you are coming to make that thing successful by pouring into that thing, your marriage will work. But if you
mm-hmm.
make yourself the marriage and the other person is coming to pour into you while you just relax, the marriage will never work.
Will
That's
not
how I
work.
see it. So you
Yeah.
have to make a marriage a thing, an institution that both of you
Mm-hmm.
come to pour into to see it succeed. Just like the way you see you have a baby, a child, both of you are trying to put your best into that child to grow and become something. Marriage has to
Mm-hmm.
become a thing where both of you come in. And the moment both of you are feeding that marriage very well, the way it should be
Mm-hmm.
fed, the marriage will spread its love, it will spread its glory around both of you, and both of you will actually enjoy the marriage. So, I
True.
mean, thank you so
That's
much for
oh, okay. I was
for
going to talk about I don't finish your time today.
I mean,
I was going to touch briefly on couples dealing with struggles or dealing with challenges. I think that was a
okay,
question.
yeah, okay.
I was just to
Give us that
to
one. Let's
so
I hope you guys are enjoying this. So I mean, if you're taking this long, I hope you guys are really learning so much and enjoying it. So let me
I
allow
hope
her
so.
finish. Let me allow her finish so that we still have more to learn. All right,
Yeah.
let's run it up.
In terms of challenges, so sometimes the when problems happen, sometimes it might not be both people that have the problem together. Sometimes it's
Mm-hmm.
one person having an issue. Maybe there's no maybe one person doesn't have a job, one person has a job, or maybe one person fell sick, the other person. It is hardly a time when it's both people that have the problem at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Is it happens, of course, but not all the time. So the way I think about it is that when there's a challenge that you sometimes unconsciously you might think say you might say to yourself that is this person's fault, you know, the problem is coming from you anyway, because we are human
Mm-hmm.
beings. So as much as we are godly people and we want to think good thoughts, positive thoughts towards our partner and everything, as a human being sometimes some the devil will just bring some ideas, you know, to you
Mm-hmm.
to say it's not even your fault, self, it's this person's fault, you know, by the way. But then my thought is sometimes to think about it in reverse, that imagine you were the person that had the problem at the time. If, for
Yeah.
example, it's a case of joblessness, imagine you are the one without the job. How would you want this person to show you grace or to show you kindness in these times, those in terms of standing with you, talking to you about this or praying with you or just navigating the whole situation? How would you want them to deal with that situation? So I think usually that can be very, very helpful. And like we said, if we have talked about certain issues already, it's a lot more easier to deal with them. And when they have, maybe not a lot more easier, but at least it keeps it at the back of your mind when these uh, um, issues come. But most importantly, that everything that happens, we know that we are in this together. People say it like a cliche thing. So, for example, there's a quarrel. We are dealing with the quarrel or the misunderstanding, not for one person to win, you know, that it is for us to win.
To
So,
win.
whether it is dealing with finances, whether it is dealing with whatever, that we know that everything that we are doing or saying or thinking, we are ensuring that we are refining it to make sure that it's not just for one person to win, is for both of us to come out of this come out of this strong. And then another part that we don't talk about is having to receive help, because sometimes we are the ones that have the problem and we feel like you don't want to receive help. You know, you feel like maybe you feel proud to
Mm-hmm.
take you know, so this person has promised to be with you, whatever it is, and now there's a problem, and this person is trying to carry this burden with you. But your ego or pride would not allow you to give this person the opportunity to be a partner, a proper partner, a good partner to you. Sometimes there is joy in um receiving help. The not just joy of see somebody helps me, but the joy that the person is able to be what they were meant to be in this time of their life. It might not be
Mm-hmm.
easy for you to receive it, but um you will know say this other person too is going through the same thing with you. You should give them the opportunity to be able to, I don't know, make it
Yeah.
better in one way or another. So
Yeah.
that was the most important point I wanted to say about receiving help. Because a lot of us don't know how to receive help. Sometimes
Yeah.
somebody will come and tell you, say, what's going on? I say, no, 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 don't talk to me. Or, or how did you go to the? something like that. So I think
Learning how
that's
to receive help. If your spouse is help asking you to tell them what is going on in your day because they want to try to help you out, be open to share. Take your time to listen. Maybe whatever they have to say might be able to help you. But if you don't know how to do that, at the end of the day you might keep struggling. So I mean that's very powerful. So I really 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 appreciate it. This is longer than I expected.
very long.
It's longer than I expected, but I'm really
Yeah.
happy. I mean, anybody who watches this, I believe, should find it very interesting because this is the real deal. This is reality. This is what people are going to be facing in marriage. And there are so many lessons to learn at every point in time in this video. So I really appreciate you for making out time to be here today. And in case you people don't know, you're watching this, again, Ogenna is also a content creator. She also
Mm.
has a face sorry a YouTube page, I say Facebook, a YouTube page where she talks about everything Germany, how if you want to go to Germany, basically, if that's your dream country, go to
Mm.
her page. I think I will link it down in the description so that you can easily find her. It's Niger
Niger
girl
girl in
in
Germany.
Germany. So go and check it out because she drops a lot of content on what you need to know to relocate to Germany. She has been there for a while. So in case you're watching this and Germany is your dream country, do well to go check it out and learn so much. And I really
Mm.
appreciate you for staying up to this point in time. And remember, if you have not subscribed, do well to subscribe to my channel, hit the notification button so that you'll be notified the next time a video pops up because I will be trying so hard. I will try so hard to make this a regular thing at least once a week to bring you this kind of content. I'm trying not to promise, but life can be lifing. But then I'm trying so hard. So, but then if you know any couple you want me to bring up, do well to maybe send me a notification, a DM or whatever on Instagram, on Facebook. And you can watch this on YouTube. You can watch the audio version of this on Spotify and any other audio and podcast streaming platform out there. And like this video if you enjoyed it. I mean, am I missing anything? I don't know. If you have not followed me on
Uh,
Facebook, you are missing out. So big. You're missing out because on my Facebook, I write long form content almost every single day that will help you build a healthy relationship. Do well to check it out and you will be blessed. The name is Prophet Eneh. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you again now for being
Thank you so
here.
much for
Thank you for
having me.
making out the time for being here. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for being open. Thank you for giving out value today. And I hope that everything that we have talked about today will be a blessing to people out there. All right, guys. See you guys in the next episode. Bye.
Ciao.